All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Hook It podcast. Today, I'm joined by my buddy, Matt Macduff, to take another deep dive into a book or two. But before we get into this episode, there's a few things that I want to say. First up, we are in another lockdown, and these things aren't easy. And I think more than ever, I've been seeing the mental health implications of this after the last episode went out live, especially with Russ Pierre. A lot of people reached out, said that they've been struggling, talked about some things, through Instagram and direct messages, and even sat and chatted to some listeners over Skype as well. So it's not going to be an easy month, folks, or 2 months, or however long this goes on, but make sure you're reaching out, talking to people. Even if you can only meet virtually, then do that. And also, I wanted to mention the Winter Defiance Handbook, because this thing seems to actually be helping people, which I didn't really expect. So if you haven't already heard about it, the Winter Defiance Handbook is something I created to sort of help people navigate winter and also lockdown, which I didn't know that we'd have, but it all ties in. It's stacked with 250 challenges, which are broken down into 7 categories. There's riding challenges, fitness challenges, random challenges, 25 podcast recommendations, 25 book recommendations, and 25 must-watch mountain bike and action sports films, along with 25 iconic movies to watch too. And it's free. There's a link in the show description, and all we ask is you just keep us up to date with how you're getting on with this thing. If you tick something off, do a little Instagram post, make sure you tag us so we can keep sharing these things and keep other people motivated to get through this winter as well. There's also a giveaway each week on Instagram. It's at the Hook It podcast. So we're doing a giveaway every Sunday where you can win something which ties into the Winter Defiance Handbook. Okay, so bit of housekeeping. This episode is brought to you by the Lords at WORX and their HydroShot portable pressure washer. The WORX HydroShot is unlike any other pressure washer on the market, as it has a super unique and useful function. How can a pressure washer be unique, I hear you say? Surely it just sprays high-powered water to clean stuff. Well, the WORX HydroShot uses a PowerShare battery and draws fresh water from any source, no matter how remote you are. This thing is a godsend through winter. You're going to be going out and getting dirty, getting muddy, and if you're like me and you keep your bike in your house, then it's awesome to be able to clean that thing off without having to fire up some petrol jet wash or stop off at a car wash and use something really high powered. This thing seems to find the perfect balance between good quality pressure, but also not being loud and being super portable and lightweight too. So I can't recommend this thing enough. I genuinely cannot recommend the WORX HydroShot any more than I already do. I legit love this product. As you know, I don't talk about anything on here that I don't actually believe in. If you want to try one out for yourself, it's available from all HydroShot stockists, and there's not many of them. It's quite a unique club, I think. So their HydroShot is available from Amazon, Argos, Halfords, Toolstation, their official eBay store, or check out their new UK website, worx-uk.com. Christmas is around the corner too, so if you're looking for Christmas gifts, then what's better than Saxx underwear? Saxx makes life-changing underwear. If you haven't tried it already, then I urge you to do so. The ballpark pouch is a game changer. Think of it as an upside-down catcher's mitt where you sit your nutsack in, prevents them from rubbing on the inside of your thighs. No more chafing, no more itchiness, no more readjusting. When you put your hand in the pocket, gents, and you do that little bit of a move that thing to the side, no more of that. And they do fabric as well, so amazing fabrics for sort of everyday, fabric for running, hiking. If you're going to have a long day on the bike, then I can't stress how good the Kinetic is. The Kinetic's semi-compression, again, it's got all those features like the ballpark pouch, the micro mesh, game changer. So check out Saxx, saxxunderwear.com, or your local Saxx stockist. Last but not least, I just want to do a really nice little shout out. I recently handed my van back to a lease company, and I was left without a vehicle with a upcoming shoot that I actually did with Saxx. So I got in touch with a company called Van and Kombi, so vanandkombi.com. And these guys hooked it up. They lent me a van for the day, and I'm hopefully going to be working with these guys a little bit more closely in the coming month too. So if you're out there, you're looking for a new van, they specialize in VW transporters. As you know, there's a new transporter out, the 6.1, and it's sick. So these guys do new and used. So if you are in the market for a transporter, then either get in touch with me, give Van and Kombi a call. You can follow them on Instagram too. It's at Van and Kombi. I'll put all the links in the show description. Speak to Oliver. He's a mountain biker, and he's one of those dudes that just gets it. You know what I mean? He's one of those dudes. And it's hard to find good people in the sort of car and van industry, I think. There's a lot of cowboys out there, but these guys are legit. They're not out to rip you off. They make nice stuff. They add beautiful accessories to vans. And they're not too expensive either. So it's not an ad, nothing like that. I just wanted to give them a shout out because they're just nice people and they help me out a lot this week. So that's it. We're going to get into this episode now with Matt Macduff. Really looking forward to this one, folks. I hope you guys enjoy it, and stay safe, stay strong, and keep moving forward. One love.
Riders ready? Watch the gear.
I got big boy pants on!
How much will plastic space?
The Hooked Podcast.
Turn
It
that.
looks like you're about to sing.
I'm gonna sing to you.
We're going to do a rendition of a song to kick this thing off.
That would be pretty funny.
It really would. It really would.
I used
Can
to
you
sing
sing?
in a band,
Did you?
like way back in the day.
Oh man, no excuses now. You've made your own bed. Now
Like
you got to lie in it.
when I was like 16.
Wow.
So
that's
that's like half my lifetime ago.
cool. Is singing one of those things though that you like never forget almost? Is it like riding a bike? You'll always be able to sing?
No, I don't think so. I think it takes a lot of work and
And dedication.
dedication. Man, I was just trying to find out how Sir John Hargraves got his name.
That's interesting because
'Cause
I
he
was
must
trying to
be-
do that earlier
he
too,
must
and I
be-
couldn't.
Knighted, eh?
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out either because it's funny. I watched a review of the book like, a few weeks ago, and the guy that was doing the review said, "Oh, Sir John Hargraves. I don't know why he's called Sir. Maybe it's not real." It's funny you've mentioned that because I looked into that too. Maybe if you
Because
could
that means
find
he's
out.
knighted.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like poking around. An interview with
Or
Sir John Hargraves.
so yeah. I mean, if someone says to you then, "Hey, sir," but that could you then just use that? I don't know how it works.
I think you have to
'Cause
be knighted to be called Sir
Huh. Okay.
by
All
the
right.
Queen of
But
England.
people do use
But-
it, especially here in the UK. Like people will say, "Hey, sir, can I get you anything, sir?"
Yeah, we say that too. Like you just
Yeah.
call someone out of the street. You're like, "Hey, sir," because you don't
Yeah.
know their name. But
But
if
to
it's-
actually use the title, you need to be.
yeah, I think you need to be a knight.
Huh. Wow. There you go. Well done, John.
Yeah, damn.
Hmm.
So how
All right, man.
how should we start this thing off?
I mean, yeah, it's a good question. How should we start this thing off? First up, I want to say that the last episode we did though was really good. It was long, obviously, but it was really cool to see after that people bought the James Nestor Breath book, and that a few people have been on this path too with the mind hacking one. So I wanted to start by saying a massive thank you to everyone who reached out after listening, because this is a little bit different to what I normally do and you normally do, but fun all the same. So yeah, stoked. I mean, people have been reaching out saying, "Oh, I've got the book. I've been reading it." I had one guy who reached out who really struggles with what was it? Man, I've had a mind blank on that. But he really struggles with something to do with his breathing, like asthma sort of problems. And he read the book and he reckons he's almost totally fixed his asthma from breathing.
That's insane. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
cool,
like that. I definitely, when I was reading it, I felt like it was just so powerful, and I was like, man, everyone needs to know this.
Yeah.
And I think we did a good job. And I had a couple people reach out to me as well. And it was funny. It was pretty long, 3 hours, but it still did quite well on my end. And um, yeah, a lot of people wrote to me afterwards, just thanking me and thanking you, and
Cool.
it feels really good. So
Yeah,
thank you
and
guys.
yeah, thank you everyone on both platforms for listening and stuff and trying the book out. And I think the goal for us was just to put it out there that we're no experts obviously, but just to put it out there and put the thought into people's minds that they should read this book, and it seems to have done the job perfectly. So so here we are, man. Episode 2 of Gettin Booked.
Yeah,
which is the sickest name. I love it.
It is a sick name, and I think before we jump into the next book, like I've still been practicing a couple things from that book Breath.
Yeah.
And it's been about a month now, so I've been feeling the effects. And one of the things that has stuck with me from the book has been taping your mouth shut. And I don't remember to every night, but probably like a good 20 to 25 days out of the last 30, I've taped my mouth shut. And I've noticed that I'm sleeping like I feel like I probably sleep 2 hours longer in the same period.
What, you feel that much more refreshed when you wake up?
Yeah, like an hour or two. Like I'll get like maybe if I get 6 hours of sleep, it could feel like I got like 7 or 8. And if I get 8, it kind of feels like I get 9 or 10.
Really? That's interesting.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think maybe like a lot of people then who have read that book or haven't yet, that was one thing that I didn't try, because I thought, I sleep okay, I don't snore, I don't need to do it. But maybe I do need to do it. Maybe I need to try it. So I'm going to write that one down. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try the taping my mouth shut.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it for the next sort of 10 days or something.
I got like a little piece of medical tape, and I just put it like maybe 1 or 2 pieces from the top to the bottom. So you're not taping your entire mouth shut. And some nights it comes off. I find it in my bed. but most nights it stays on. And it was crazy because about a couple weeks ago I was a little bit more pinned, and I was only getting 6-7 hours of sleep a night, and I found that the tape was really helping me rest and reset. Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, I'm going to try that, dude, because again, that was one of the things that I just didn't think I'd need to do. But yeah, everything's worth a shot. So
yeah, totally. And you know what? I always felt like I slept pretty good too, but sometimes, I mean, I think your sleep kind of evolves. Like you tell yourself this story, like, yeah, I always sleep awesome. I sleep like a rock. But then slowly, I think over the months, your sleep kind of changes,
Yeah.
And I kind of found myself like maybe sleeping a little less heavy, and I don't know why that is. Like maybe it's because all my roommates are not heavy sleepers, so maybe it's like impacting me that way. Who knows? But this has definitely helped me. Been sleeping really good.
Cool. I think as well, effects from outside of your control make a massive difference on your sleep. Whether I say out of your control, but maybe if you have some anxiety, maybe especially what's going on in the world right now with lockdowns and coronavirus, there's all sorts of stresses on people that maybe you aren't even mindful of, but but it's there. It's like a subliminal sort of like negativity and just all this stuff going on that maybe you go to bed and you are carrying that bit of anxiety, which realizes itself in dreams and just makes you not sleep as good. So I think anything you can do like that right now to be getting good rest and staying healthy is it's 101 importance, personally.
Yeah, you want to stay healthy away from that coronavirus, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, we were just talking before we started, but you just gone into your second lockdown.
Yeah, second lockdown. So we've been teetering on this thing for a while of having different tiers in the UK. So we've had tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. Tier 1, I'll be honest, man, I don't know what they really mean. I know that tier 3 means that you shouldn't be mixing with other people outside of your household and stuff like that. But it seems like none of what the government are doing is working. So we're going back into a real lockdown. But they're leaving certain shit open. So they're still leaving the Still leaving schools and universities open and stuff. But yeah, that happened, 30 minutes before we started recording?
Really?
Yeah, it's just happened
Actually.
just now. Yeah, it's just happened just now. So it's a very strange time to be alive, mate. That's for sure. It's a very, very strange time to be alive, I think, for everybody, especially in these countries where they're starting to go back into lockdown, and it's worrying, man. In a way, it's worrying. I mean, we could go down this rabbit hole again for hours, I think, but for people's mental health, for people's people's financial health, just this whole thing it's very unique, and it's very, very tough for people to deal with, I think. And I don't know about you, but obviously some of the content I put out a lot of the time is about mental health, and it's about about mental health basically, and stress and depression, anxiety and stuff. So I do get messages off people like saying that they're struggling and stuff like that, especially when Ollie and I did those lockdown companion episodes. So many people were reaching out and saying, that they're struggling. Maybe they've lost a job. Maybe they've, lost a family member. All this stuff, dude. And it's becoming more and more apparent that people are struggling with this. And I think the knock-on effect of these lockdowns is it's mental health. It's people really struggling, and it is worrying. It's super worrying. I just spent 3 days on a shoot in Manchester, which is the next city over from me, which we were doing with Sax Underwear. And this whole shoot was basically about getting men. It was like a sort of video edit and a photo shoot, which comes out in January. It's all about getting men to talk about mental health. And it was a really, really nice experience because we had all these different guys from different walks of life. We had a guy who lost his leg. We had a guy struggling with vitiligo, so body image issues and stuff like that. But they're talking about mental health, but one thing that keeps coming up is this pandemic. It's the knock-on effects that they're seeing in their community talking about mental health, and stress and anxiety again, and depression, and suicide rates have gone up crazy here, man. Someone told me the other day, and I hope it's true, I'm not sure, but apparently suicide rate's gone up 200% in the UK.
Wow.
Which is, there's so many things going on, and it is a very, very unique time to be alive. And something that I want to dig into a little bit more with you as well. It's not necessarily about the pandemic, but it's some of those knock-on effects and sort of what it means to be locked down at home more than you used to, and some of the effects that has on your psyche, and how you sort of navigate the world and jobs and life and friends and stuff. It's really, really strange, man.
It is. I mean, we're social creatures, man. So we're meant to socialize. We're designed to socialize, and you get certain hormone, boosts and mental boosts, all this stuff. When you socialize with people. So, if you remove that, and then also you start wearing a mask all the time, so your breathing is being kind of messed up. It's harder to breathe. Those are really tough circumstances for your mental health,
Totally.
And it's crazy.
I think one of the biggest, sorry, go on after you.
No, I might have taken the conversation a whole nother direction, but I was just saying it's crazy because actually I lost my train of thought, so you go.
That's cool. So I was thinking that coffee will kick in soon though, man. How many are you on? 3?
No. Just second one. I'm not allowed 3 coffees.
That's a no-no, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the
cut off at 2.
1 coffee a day, 2 coffees for the special days, and 3 coffees is a big no-no.
Well, one of the biggest takeaways from this whole this shoot that I just did as well was I was basically sat in a room with these people for 2.5-3 days talking to people about mental health, and the weirdest thing was I haven't been in a room with strangers since February, and after the day I was the first day I was exhausted, and I'm like, what's going on? And one of the guests said to me on the second day, he said, I'm sorry I keep asking you all these questions, he said, but I haven't had a conversation with somebody for months. You talk to your work friends, maybe you talk to your wife, your partner or whatever, but especially here, you know, and in other countries that are in a lockdown again, you're not communicating with people enough. It's not natural to be so isolated and on your own. And I mean, amazingly, we have social media, we have, you know, outlets like Skype and Zoom and stuff, but it's different, isn't it? Like, you're not looking at someone, you're not exchanging ideas, and you're not sort of getting those social cues that our bodies just need and our minds need that. And that was like one of the biggest takeaways from me, was just spending time talking to random people and getting to know people from where are you from, all that sort of stuff, like a legit stranger. You know, especially when you've been put into lockdown, you sort of just stay in your little bubble, in a little insulated circle of friends, and, you know, you just try and keep up communication with those guys. So I think a lot of people will be experiencing that too, you know, of not having engagement with strangers and sort of not massaging, but sort of like, you know, utilizing those tools that we're meant to have as human beings to talk and communicate with each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you go to the shopping mall here or the grocery store, because I don't really go to the shopping mall, but at the grocery store especially, you'll see like people are really staying away from each other. Like older people, you know, you don't even want to go help them out because I don't want to give them coronavirus or whatever. And there's a real social distancing kind of kicking in, and it's sad, man. It's quite sad, and I don't even know like how seriously to take, you know, the coronavirus, you know, as a whole. Like I've known like one or two people that have got it. Have you known anybody who's gotten it?
A couple. But again, you get such like different sort of response from people. You have, similar to you know, I have a few friends who are like, oh, it's made up, it's not real, the government are doing it to sort of...
No, I know it's real.
You know, yeah, it's definitely real. But I have friends that are saying stuff like that. I have had friends that are like, it's not even a real thing, just, you know, whatever. But then you do have other people that... I mean, one of the girls who actually organised our photo shoot and stuff, she didn't make it to the shoot because she got coronavirus. And, you know, I spoke to her and she was really, really sick. And she is probably 30 years old. So then that, you know, when you've not really come into contact with that either, someone at that age getting it, the whole thing shifts in my brain. You know, I've gone from taking it pretty serious. You know, I'm probably same as most people. I do my thing. I wear my mask. I don't complain. I keep myself to myself. But then when you hear someone that's similar age to me get it, and similar age to you, the people that are meant to just kick this thing within 24 hours and just carry on like normal, that they're struggling with it, then that makes you go, well, what the hell? Like, who do you believe? Like, and how serious is it? You know, some people seem to react really badly and be fucked for ages. But then someone like, I don't know. I mean, I listen to obviously Rogan quite a lot. Jamie, Rogan's producer, got it, and he was sick for 24 hours, and then he was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a bad example, but how do you like?
No, it's crazy, and is it worth the social cost that we're talking about? You know, like the mental health costs, you know, and the financial costs. Like, is it worth? Is all this stuff like is all that stuff worth that? You know, just for an illness that, you know, might kick your ass, or it probably won't. You know, it's kind of crazy. You know, and like I definitely think about this stuff quite a lot, because I have a sister with cystic fibrosis, which is a disease in your lungs that you're born with, and she's obviously at a big risk, you know, if she would get it, and coordinating going home for Christmas is crazy.
Yeah, for sure, it is,
because I gotta fly and I gotta go over there, and you know, so I am like not speaking, I'm not speaking lightly, you know, like I have thought about this stuff a little bit, and it's just crazy to think about like the costs, you know, like these mental health costs and what it's doing to people, and suicide rates and all this stuff. And is it worth, you know, is it worth it?
Is it worth people losing the business and jobs? And
it's crazy.
It is, man.
And then
it is.
and then that book Breath basically tells you that your nose is a mask.
Yes, yeah, very true.
like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, but the thing is, there's also like this stigma, isn't there, about talking about that stuff, and I think unless you, for me, like really smart and really understand the science, it's very difficult to talk about it, because you don't want to be that guy that's just throwing out, oh, I heard once on the podcast, I heard this. But there is, I don't know if you listened to it, but there was an episode that Aubrey Marcus did with the scientists talking about masks and how helpful they were and stuff. Have you heard that one?
No, but it's probably amazing.
So interesting, dude, and I've become a massive fan of this guy ever since. But to me, it sounds like he's talking the truth. You know, he's got science, he's got evidence, he's got studies, he's got facts to back up what he's saying. But then, you know, if you start talking about that stuff, people get funny about it. It's created this very strange atmosphere where, you know, you can feel punished for speaking your mind or putting out other views out there, because, you know, you can be blamed straight away of, well, do you want to kill someone? Do you want to kill your gran? Do you want to kill your dad? It's like, fuck.
No, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to kill anybody.
No, not at all.
But at the same time, you know, you still want to live your best life and be your best self, you know, and that's what, you know, part of those things are breathing and socializing. So
totally.
It makes you question, just makes you question things. And I think questioning is good. And I think just, you know, to speak to what your worry is, I think if you truly live the stuff that you say, and you are living your best life, and you're giving off that incredible positive energy, then that's the proof right there. Well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing all this stuff, and it's making me feel amazing. And those people are like, fuck, I don't feel amazing today.
Totally. And I think that's it, isn't it? It's trying to find those little positives in this whole situation, which is, it's extremely difficult, and other people are going to be in totally different circumstances than what I'm in and what you're in. But the thing is as well, it's like, I feel like when we first went into lockdown here, which was around March, and it feels like such a long time ago now, a lot of people probably viewed that as like, okay, this is cool. You know, if this goes on for like 3 months or something, it gives me time to do that job that I've never done. Maybe it's tidy the yard, for example. Like, it's tidy my bedroom, do some decorating in the house. I've got all this time to do that, but also work on myself. And that's certainly what I was doing. I was like, okay, right, all those jobs, I'm going to do those, and I'm going to, you know, commit to a sort of like maybe even a meditation sort of regime, or all those things. Like, now I could plan stuff because I knew that I was going to be at home, you know, before my job, probably similar to yours, all over the place, no real routine. But now I have this routine, I'm going to try and do this, that and the other. But then fast forward 8 months, we're still in this situation. Those jobs have all been done, and there's like no end in sight. And that, I think, is the hardest struggle. That's tough, you know, that is tough. Like, how do you keep on doing these little things? But
I mean, I think there is an end in sight. You know, I really feel like next summer. I mean, I'm no disease expert.
Yeah.
Let me just say that first off. But, you know, after listening to a couple, you know, people much smarter than me talk about the situation, I really feel like next summer things are going to cool down. And but you're right, you know, right now there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. We could be in this situation for a couple years, so it's like, it's like, how do I adjust to this new life? It's dumb.
It was interesting, the episode you did with Jed, which is amazing, by the way. You know, massive respect to Jed. He's the nicest guy. But he said something almost like in passing. Someone had said to him who works in the government or whatever in New Zealand that there was going to be like no travel and stuff for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to the episode, I was like, fuck, did he just say that? Like, did he just say that he's not going to like be able to travel for 2 years? Because, you know, his job as well, it's traveling, it's doing the Nitro Circus, and he's now looking at it at a point of view of like, okay, well, what does my life look like for 2 years if I can't travel? Like, what is it? What is his life? How does it change? How do you make money? All that stuff.
Yeah.
it's a very unique situation, man, to be in.
It's crazy
for everybody.
It's a crazy situation, especially if you're self-employed, and especially if your job's gone. You're just like, what the heck? I was supposed to be mostly building this year. I was doing a lot of designing and building for events, and then like all the events just went poof. You know, like literally like all my work. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you know, that left the door open for other things, you know, like working on yourself and a lot of mountain bike riding and athlete stuff. So you know,
totally.
With no events, content becomes much more valuable. So it's, you know, there is always, I like to think anyways, that there is always a silver lining somewhere. Just gotta find it.
Yeah, totally. Which reminds me as well, congratulations on the Norco deal. Because we spoke and then that came out like the day after. I was like, you didn't even mention it. That was so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, dude. Really sick.
Thank you. It feels amazing to have such incredible support, like from such a large company, you know, coming from the rise where we kind of did everything ourselves to now Norco, which has over like 120 employees. It's crazy. It's phenomenal. Like even my bike setup, like I have the same access that the downhill team has to suspension tech, and you know, so just learning like everything about the bikes and like how you want to set up your bike, you know, your trail bike, your downhill bike, like what are you riding? You know, there's all these different setups, and it's quite meticulous, and it makes a really big deal in the geometry and how the bike rides. So it's been amazing just to have that support, you know. It's just like, boom. And then like, you know, the ability to ride an e-bike if I want to ride an e-bike,
awesome.
Or you know, or the range, the site, like and the shore, you know, like all the different setups. And then of course the downhill bikes, it's just like you got every tool for the job. So like, what's the job? Let's go. It's exciting, man. It's
for sure. Yeah, amazing, man. Congratulations. Really, really cool to see that happen. That was, like I said, we spoke the day before, then it came up. I think I'm sure it was the day after on Pink Bike that you'd signed for Norco. I was like, oh, wow, shit.
It's really crazy because these things happen like so like far down the line. So often when they do come out, it's like months after, and you kind of forget about it. You're just like, because you've already adjusted. And you know, because book that we're talking about, mind packing, I tend to not pay too much attention to like whatever's going on outside. Just try and stay focused on the day to day, and that's definitely something that makes me a lot happier for sure. And I think that it's cool that we're going to talk about this book too, because a lot of those you know, a lot of mental health tips in this book I think really could help you through lockdown and turn it into something positive.
Yeah, mate, totally agree. Perfect segue as well. Beautifully done.
I didn't even mean to do that.
It's perfect. You're a natural. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's get into this book, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Like I think you laid the groundwork perfectly. Like with all this going into lockdown, all of the mental stress, you know, it's like, how do you deal with it? And I think that this book really lays down, you know, a pretty clear path to, you know, getting rid of a lot of the bullshit and focusing what's important and just making the steps every single day to get it done.
I agree totally. I agree. For me, when you recommended the book, I'd never heard of it before. You suggested that I did the audiobook, I think. I'm sure you suggested it.
Yeah.
So for me, this was my first ever audiobook, which was really strange because I listened to so much content. You know, I listened to podcasts pretty much, you know, well, daily, you know, for hours and hours. So to get an audiobook was, I thought was going to be really weird. I think one thing that I enjoy about books is the time that you have to dedicate to sit in a quiet space and to read. So I'll be really honest, like I did struggle at first. The first few, like maybe the first week or so, I really struggled with the audiobook because I found it easier. I mean, this is terrible and this is part of the learning journey, no doubt, but I found it really difficult to put headphones in and be in a quiet space and not pick my phone up. It was really hard. And it was almost like this mental override that I went through of trying not to do something else while you're listening. But I really wanted to dedicate myself to this book and make sure that every time I sat and listened to it, it was quiet and it was in the same setting as it would be if I was to physically read a copy.
Wow.
So, yeah, I really struggled with that at first. I mean, I've got better, for sure. Like, I am better at it now. But it was kind of like, I feel like with a physical book, there's somewhere for your eyes to go. There's something to do. It's flicking the pages. It's this, that. And there's a touch to it. Whereas when I was sat on, most of the time on my bed, pretty comfy, with my legs crossed, and I was like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do with my head? What do I do? What do I do with my eyes? What do I do with my hands? And I was finding myself, checking social media or replying to messages at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So that's a big takeaway, is being able to listen to an audiobook and being able to give yourself that space to do it as well. So,
wow, that's crazy, because like for me, all I listen to is audiobooks.
Right.
But that's because if I read, I find it, the complete opposite. Like to go down and sit somewhere and flip through a book, especially at my reading level, which is not that high. I'll fall asleep after like 15 pages, like almost get
right.
Like if I make it to 15 pages. So it can take me like 6 months to read a 200-page book.
Really? That's so interesting though, isn't it? How it's like totally like, different ways of doing things, totally.
Yeah, but I find with the audiobooks, like what you want to do, well, at least what I do is I always have them playing, while I'm doing mindless stuff, like either, driving heavy equipment or working on my bikes, whatever it is that I'm doing. I always have it in the background, and I will often listen to it multiple times in the background. Okay. So it just like beats itself into the subconscious.
Right.
I got that technique from Seth Godin, he kind of always had, he believes that, we're just always listening to whatever's around us, and it kind of like gets inside of our brain. And that, I think that if you were going to sit down and just listen to the audiobook, it probably, it would be very difficult. So that's cool. You took the same approach. Like I would have never thought about doing that. That must have been quite difficult for sure.
It was definitely difficult. Yeah, but again, I wanted to take it as like a meditative thing of every day I'd sit and listen. I think for people who haven't seen the book yet as well, it's broken down into almost like a daily chapter. And I think that was a bit of a head fuck for me at first, was like, okay, so it's like, okay, all right. Just to clarify, I think it did confuse me as well at first. I forgot about this. It did confuse me at first how the book was broken down, because you have the 21-day meditation course at the end, but then each chapter is also broken down into days. Is that right?
I'm not 100% sure.
No?
I'm going to look at it right now, but I think that it might.
Well,
it might be.
Yeah, I was doing it as like a daily chapter. So I think if it was a regular book with just normal chapters, and it didn't really matter where you press stop and start, then I probably would have found that a little bit easier, because I'd have just listened to it whenever I was doing something mindless, like you said. But because this was sort of a bit more, it seemed to be channeled more as like a daily thing to do, I tried to do it like that, if that makes sense. So I'd try and do like, okay, I have 20 minutes to listen to this chapter, go. And I'd listen to it in quiet, and then I'd get on with my day.
How'd you find the beginning of the book? Personally, I found it really difficult. I almost didn't get through the beginning. I almost switched it off, actually.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of the the language used is sort of about technology, isn't it? It's about something that I have zero interest in, which is hacking. Like I have zero interest in hacking and sort of tech talk and technology. Basically, I have like zero interest in any of that. So I agree, dude. It was kind of hard to like be like, okay, I've got to stick with this. Matt reckons it's really good. The first every like day or chapters got like a really sort of funny anecdote at the start of it too.
Yeah.
Or a story, right? And they were like, they hooked me in. Like the first one, I think he was talking about getting a credit card under Barack Obama's name and then getting FBI raided in his home and stuff.
Yeah, which is crazy.
But it did hook me in, but definitely some of the language used is far too advanced probably for me and a little bit out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, it's crazy. When I first started the book, I forget where I kept popping up on my Audible, and I was like, "What the heck? Like, why does this keep popping up?" And I was running out of things to listen to, so I was like, "Okay, mind hacking, let's go." Like, let's see what this is about. And I got like all those stories in the beginning were just, I was like, no, like I want real facts, like give me the real stuff. And then that's exactly what kind of happened. Like as soon as I got over the first part, I was just about to turn it off, and then the part 2 kind of started kicking in, where he gets a little more like into your mind, and like how like the loops that he talks about, and how those loops kind of create your thoughts, and then those thoughts create your actions, and then your actions create your life. And I was like, whoa, hold up, like there's loops before my thoughts, like my pattern, there's patterns that I have, like habits that create my thoughts. And I'm like, and then that's when I got like sucked right in.
Okay. Right.
And really, started like tuning more into the book when I was just about to literally just shut it off, because I was like,
right,
I don't have time for this. It's ridiculous.
But like you say, I think it. Yeah. Go on.
I would almost like, if I recommend the book to anyone else after, because I listened to it probably 3 or 4 times, and now I would recommend that people probably just skip the first part altogether.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think I'm with you on that as well. It sort of seems to be broken down into 3 sections. So it's like probably call it like analysis at first. So it's like analyzing some of the thoughts that you come up with and recognizing certain things, and then it's about imagining things like what you want your life to look like, and then I guess it's about after that sort of like reprogramming those loops. Yeah,
you nailed it. Yeah, part 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
That's so. Yeah, I was with you. Yeah, totally with you though, man, on that. I definitely at first was like, what the hell is this? Like, I didn't really have Matt down for being into tech and like all these crazy stories. but it started to make more sense as the days and weeks went on.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy because like there's certain things after this book that before we were going to do this episode, when I was preparing for it, I noticed that there's a couple key things that really stuck with me. And one was that taking that hour once a month to shut off all your notifications.
Yeah.
Man, I've been doing that for maybe 6 months now.
Okay.
It's still with me. Like it's still something that I do.
Yeah.
And it's God damn, it's improved my life, man.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
Not having my phone begging for my attention, and one thing it has done is I don't reply fast to certain messages. Like sometimes I'll text you back like 2 days later.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because we're both doing the same thing, aren't we, with not having the notifications on. So like, to ask a simple question can take weeks.
But the important stuff gets done. Like every day I have real important stuff, and I'm not saying that texting you back isn't important, but we still linked up for this. We still made this happen,
Yeah.
Which is important. So like every day the important stuff is getting done. And it's just so nice not having, all that other stuff. And I've even found, when he was talking about screens being addicting, like checking screens, and that's an actual addiction.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but it turns out that like you can have an actual addiction to checking screens. And if you see someone check their screen, you will go for your screen to check it. Or if you see a screen, you'll check it. Anyways, there's this whole addiction thing. And I noticed that I had that when I would hear other people's notifications go off, and I would be like, oh my God, it sounds like mine. Like, who's trying to get a hold of me? And I'd look at my phone, there'd be nothing because there's no notifications on it, And then I find myself now, 6 months later, kind of not so addicted to it. And I see it a lot more in other people, and I feel like free actually because like, I don't need to check my phone. Checked it this morning.
No, mate, honestly, that's so powerful that you say that. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from this book for me, because he mentions this almost at the start of the book, isn't it? I think it's in the first couple of like paragraphs almost, or definitely in the first couple of days, about turning off unnecessary distraction. And you mentioned it on the last episode about turning off the notifications, and I thought, fuck dude, that's so good, that's so powerful. So I've gone down the same journey as you, turned off all my notifications maybe a month and a half, nearly 2 months ago now. And it's very liberating. It comes with a certain anxiety at times too, especially if you're waiting for a response from somebody. Then you almost find yourself checking your phone more because you're waiting for you end up in a weird loop.
I've definitely done that before.
Yeah, so there's that, but it's definitely I wouldn't go back now to having notifications on. I mean, I already didn't have, maybe the same as you and people listening, I didn't have notifications on for, let's say, Instagram. I don't have Facebook anymore on my phone anyway. I deleted that years ago. Or any other app didn't have notifications other than WhatsApp and text messages. I felt like they were necessary to have all of the time because people want to get hold of you. I thought like, I can't not have those, but then turning those off has been, again, like double liberating, because it turns out you don't need it. I've said to people for years now, like, if you actually want me, like, just call. I'll always pick the phone up. My phone isn't, in another country. It's here. I just don't want to constantly be looking at it. And I've also just gone to having like the WhatsApp on my desktop on my laptop, because I do use WhatsApp quite a lot, mainly for work stuff. I deal with a Canadian company, so they start messaging you on WhatsApp at like 5 p.m. UK time. I work with Austrians, they'll message you all day through WhatsApp. So I can't get rid of it, but I have managed to go, right, WhatsApp's on my desktop, which means if I'm on my laptop, I'm working, and if I'm not, then you can't get hold of me. Or I'll check it every 3 hours and reply to the necessary shit. Everything else can wait until the next day.
Yeah, so, and it just helps you get more work done, man. It's amazing because like when what I learned from the book is we get in these states of flow, and then as soon as something comes up, it completely disrupts your concentration, and then it's just like you have to. You're like, what? Like almost like your brain gets punched in the face, and then you got to like focus on that thing, and then because we can only focus on one thing at a time, and then the multitasking stuff was insane as well. How damaging multitasking is, and it like fucking hurts your happiness levels, and like you don't get anything like really done, and you're way less efficient than just like focusing on one thing at a time and like just pushing it through to completion. And it's just like, it's like, damn. Yeah. So what's your, again, this is a rabbit hole we could probably go down for hours, but what's your relationship like with the social media side of this then? So you obviously don't have notifications on for that, but how often a day will you check your Instagram and stuff? Instagram for me is still a constant battle, because every time I open it, I just, I receive so much praise. So it's just like almost addictive, because it's like, oh, I don't feel so good. I open my Instagram and I'm like, woohoo, like everything's going on. The likes, blah, blah, blah. Or then maybe, maybe I haven't posted in a while, and I open up Instagram and there's not much action. So it's like, and Instagram is like so well designed to just absorb you in and get you lost, you know. And I often find myself, you know, checking, like feeling something and then checking the app and then blinking and 20 minutes has gone by. And I'm like, fuck Instagram. You just stole 20 minutes of my life. Like,
yeah.
Turned on, you know, and I'm still, you know, I'm still battling with it. I try to post in the morning, and then I try to collect content throughout the day if I'm doing something cool, and then I'll post at night.
Okay,
so,
right. Oh, that's good. Really cool.
I'm trying to push Instagram out of the middle of my day.
Yeah.
Where I'm struggling with Instagram right now is in the mornings. There's this like first thing in the morning where your alarm goes off and you grab your phone, and that's when you turn off your alarm. You're still in bed.
Yeah.
And my biggest battle right now is not opening Instagram at that second. If I can switch gears straight into my routine, I kick so much more ass throughout the whole day. I'm way happier, I'm way more stoked, I'm way more powerful. But if that Instagram app catches me before I start my breathing, before I start to work out, all that stuff, then I'm like dealing with lag almost, you know, like lag on the Xbox. And that sometimes it's a fog that won't leave me until like sometimes in the afternoon. And it's just like, it's crazy, man. And that's where it starts. So it's like right now, that's my biggest battle. And, you know, I'll be completely honest with you. Like this morning, I Instagrammed for like 30 minutes before I fired up my routine. And then here I am drinking 2 coffees, you know, this is directly because of Instagram. Still in my life, even though the notifications are off, you know? So I think that,
it's a battle, man.
Yeah. I think to win the battle, I need to get the phone out of the room. The phone is not allowed in the room. You know, that I think that's the only way. Like, buy an old alarm clock.
Phone
out of the room, wake up, do your thing, and then have a coffee and check your phone. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think for me, the only way I can not really go down that path in the morning. So my morning routine is basically get up and I leave the house. We were talking about it before, but like straight away I go and walk the dog for 1 hour. So I always get 1 hour where there's no phone, nothing. And then what I was doing with this book is coming back and then listening to the 20 minutes of the book, or doing the, as we progress, like the meditation side of it for 20 minutes. And then I'd do the Instagram thing. But one thing that I learned over the last like month or so, a little tip that I got from my boy Jace at Gypsy Tales. He's been playing this game with his Instagram. Well, I say it's a game, this little tip, where try not to scroll. So I've been really enjoying that. So yeah, you use it, but you're not getting caught in that scroll hole. So I literally just post what I need to post. I will reply to all of the messages. You know, I sort of pride myself on replying to everybody. Similar to you get a lot of messages through the DMs and stuff. So I try and reply to everything in the morning. But other than that, I don't start flicking through and going, oh, look at that, and liking other stuff. I really, really avoid that. And that's been like a real big shift in my social media use. So I'm using it for what it's there for, which is just putting the content out and replying to people that are really nice, who send nice messages.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it seems to work.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's a kind of a problem that I see if I was to adopt that would be Instagram is such a big way to absorb information and see what is going on in the riding scene.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I could open up like Pink Bike or whatever, but they don't necessarily post everything. They do post like big important things, but you know, there's a whole subculture in mountain biking that just thrives off Instagram. So every day you're seeing what people are posting, and that's kind of keeping you like up to date on like where the video projects are, who's coming out with one, who's working on one, who's fucking killing it, who's not.
And the
killing
unique
it,
the unique circumstance. the unique side of what you is you and what you do and have done as well is if you like someone's video or a post, that can totally change their day or life, or do you know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yeah. I mean, I try not to think about it like that, but
that it's so true though, right? Like I know I get it. If someone like, you know, I post something and Matt Macduff liked, I'm like, fuck, that's cool. All right, yeah, okay, carry on. So you almost owe it as well to mountain biking to be keeping an eye on. You do though. You owe it to mountain biking to keep an eye on the pulse, to give people props who aren't going to make it sometimes onto pink bike or other vital whatever.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, where, how much time does that deserve every day? And that's, I think a good 30 minutes in the morning and a good 30 minutes in the evening is more than enough. I try to keep it there. Rarely it stays there. Rarely.
Yeah.
Like often I think what happens most days is probably an hour in the morning, 30 minutes around lunch, and then an hour at night. I think that's probably what Instagram looks like, but it's a constant battle, just like you said.
I heard a fact as well the other day. A dude said, if you spend 4 hours on your phone every day, and if you live to the age of 80, that means you'll have spent 20 years of your life staring at the phone.
Yeah, it's for real, dude. It's a real battle we got right now.
That's scary.
And it's such a battle. Like you go outside, like I know we're in coronavirus times, but like every time I go into a city, you look around, everyone's face down, you know what I mean? Looking at their phone. We got a younger dude who lives with us, and I can see his posture in his neck. Like tinted forward, you know what I mean? Like he's got legit posture problems.
Yeah.
And I can see that because I pay a lot of attention to posture and stuff. And let's go to mental health. Like posture is a big part of mental health. Like if you stand up straight and you breathe right, like goddamn, like your posture is really going to affect your mental attitude. So like that's another thing, weighing on people today. And like, dude, the phones and the screen, it's crazy. And this book definitely helped me kind of break out of it a little, step back from it and be like, oh my God, like this is happening and it's affecting us really negatively, and it's not making me more productive. It's doing the opposite. It's creating a lot of problems, and I gotta deal with this. So
yeah. And that's what's cool, isn't it? Is these books just give you a framework of something to work from to keep making yourself better. I think that's really cool. We're using this book, even like now with our conversation, we're using this book as just a framework of like, okay, this was my experience and this is how this changed my life or whatever, just from these little incremental like nuggets of information. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's so sick, man. And I'm just so thankful to the mind hacking community. I don't know, did you do most of the homework in the book?
Pretty much. I'd be lying if I said I did all of it, but I think I did. Yeah, most of it. Yeah, I did. I had them on I printed off the sheets, which are free to print off.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I threw them away. I tied it out the bedroom, and I must have mistaken them for something else. I don't have them. The plan was to do it and have it sat here and be able to like talk about it a little bit more.
Oh,
but yeah, I sort of threw them away. I'm sorry.
Well, it's all good. I had a notebook where I was doing all mine, and one thing that I found amazing was when you're in your meditation, and you guys will know this when you read the book, or if you read the book, you'll be thinking about this. But when you're in your meditation, and when you realize you've left your thoughts, you lost your focus, and you realize it. You give yourself a point and you reward yourself for that. That, that's amazing. That was a big change for me, because always in my meditation practice, whenever I lost it, I would go, fuck. you fucking idiot. You lost it, man. Like, you suck at this meditation stuff. That was a big self-love kind of root, I would say, that really grew and has been still growing, because when I do lose attention, I'm just like, you just scored a point, motherfucker. You're getting, your mental awareness is raising. You're getting sharper, like, fuck yeah. Instead of being like the opposite way, bummed out. And that's awesome that he also talks about in the book, how, that basically everything starts in the mind. It will start, everything that is in the real world that man has created has started in someone's head, with their imagination. So it's like, just developing a better relationship with that space and making it a positive space, I think, really impacts your life. Like,
I agree. Totally, man.
More than you'll know.
I think as well, that was, along with the notifications, the biggest takeaway from this book was, for me, was the meditations at the end. So it's a 21-day course, but for anyone who hasn't meditated before, and I am not very good at meditating, I struggle to do it. So this gives you a daily guide how to meditate, and that was the biggest thing. It's like, okay, 21 days, I'm going to do this for 21 days. I'm going to sit, I'm going to have 20 to 30 minutes every day, and it's going to help me do that. Because I know, like, in the past, I've tried different apps. I've tried, I've tried sitting in silence a lot. But if you don't understand, like you said, how to do it, and maybe just trying to figure out those little ways that, you find meditation easier, whether it's doing the scoring or in your head or whatever, meditation's like a really difficult thing to do because there's so much information out there and so many different ways you can do it. So I'd say this is a perfect start for someone who hasn't meditated before. It's a perfect way to start. I mean, this 21-day course will guide you through how to do it, basically.
Yeah, and he takes it out of meditation too, which is kind of a cool thing, because I feel like there's sometimes a stigma around meditation, obviously for me and you, we feel like it's real positive because we, dig into a lot of these things and we're very familiar with the terms. But like, I could remember when I was younger, I would say like 18, 20, around there, meditation for me held a really negative stigma, like,
it was like, oh, woo woo, and like,
I would ever hear the word meditation, it would just like turn, I'd be like, fuck, that's gay, or like whatever, like, my brain would just be like, absolutely not, that's stupid. But I like how he phrases it in this in this book. He basically calls meditation concentration exercises. Concentration is something that or the ability to concentrate is definitely something I've seen in a lot of like my really successful guests, like Beswick, for example. The ability to concentrate and be present, it really reminded me of Brett, like their ability to concentrate and be present on whatever they choose to do, definitely I think is a massive factor in their success, so like all of a sudden changing it from meditation to concentration exercises where you're like, holy fuck, like I'm sitting here working on my concentration, and this is a really important, just like my biceps or my legs, I got to exercise my mind and get this concentration muscle going. That really was attractive to me personally, and I stayed with that meditation course or concentration course, whatever you want to call it. I stayed with it probably for like 4 or 5 months.
Wow, you just kept doing it?
Yeah, like over and over again. And the last parts, just because I found them so powerful and so easy. Because you wake up, I'd do my breathing, and then I would just turn that on. And it's like, boom, I don't even have to think about anything. What am I doing today? Oh, yeah, I'm thinking about, the character traits and stuff that he tries to instill in you that are supposed to bring you to the next level. And you're just like, and then that day you're thinking about that character trait. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, how did I do?
Yeah. But you're so right, dude. It gives you purpose to meditate, and I think that's a big thing too. It gives you I think some of the later ones, they've got almost like a mantra which goes with them, which I think was beautiful. So you say, was it sort of like, you breathe in and say, let's say, for example, self-awareness, and then you breathe out. And that was like really nice. It was really, really nice meditations. And I think for me, I'm not very good at sort of sitting and being silent and not really letting my brain do much, focusing on the nasal breathing or whatever. I almost need like a active meditation of think about this, think about that. And that's how I seem to meditate best. And I know I was coming out of those feeling like really good. And they almost play music as well at the end. Do you remember those ones?
Yeah, the music's kind of whack, but...
Yeah, it's kind of whack, but it's like, okay, all right, yeah, I feel good. Sorry.
But I found the character traits pretty amazing, and I definitely went a lot of days, judging myself throughout the day, like how I was doing on those character traits, and constantly thinking about the reprogramming that was happening and catching my loops. Like I was actually, I still catch them.
Amazing.
Like really negative loops. Like when you're doing something, for instance, for me, it would be in the machine. I would be in the machine for hours, and there's a certain loop that I would just catch myself being in, and I would just pause, reprogram that loop, and then play that, and then that would completely, change the way I would interact with the guys when I get out of the machine, and it changes the whole day, so it's
right. Yeah.
getting out, just being like all negative and grumpy,
If you don't mind sharing though, what are those some of those positive negative loops that you were in? And how have you replaced those?
Why am I working for somebody? I should be working for myself, and they're just silly stuff. Like I'm still building jumps. I'm doing what I love, but I'm building them for other people, which is great because it, allows them to jump safely. I get to use all my experience to help someone's dreams come alive, which feels great, and you get to get rewarded financially for it, which is amazing. But there's this dark side of you in there that's also, that comes out about, probably 100 hours into the job. You're sitting in that vibrating cab, and you're just like, fuck this. I should be making jumps for myself. It'd be way cool, and then that loop, starts playing in your head, and then as soon as I recognize it right away now, and I'm just like, no, that's wrong. This is actually a really good thing that I'm doing. It's helping my friends out. It's helping this out. It's helping the riding scene out. And the bigger picture, the when I move from the weed to the ball is really something positive. And then, I'll be like, I'll leave the machine and I'll be like, yeah, man, like I'm doing really something positive today. This is awesome. I'm making the world a better place. I'm helping my friends. Instead of getting out and being like, fuck this, like this is gay, or whatever. Like, who cares, man? It's just a berm. It's just a corner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like 2 seconds of the trail. like, who gives a fuck? You're gonna roll over it. It's gonna be done. But that's something that plays in my mind quite often, and I think plays in a lot of builders' minds. Not just me, but
especially if there's probably a lot of builders who build the trails and stuff that don't necessarily ride them as well. So you've got like a totally different view on that because you're capable and it's what you do as well for a job. So you're building shit and you're probably thinking, yeah, maybe I should be building this for myself. Whereas some people might just be like, oh, it's just a job. I'm used to building houses, but now I'm building a big dirt jump somewhere. So it's slightly unique, but yeah, and
it loses the magic. Like, at the end of the day, you're in a big machine, you're building stuff to play on, and you're helping someone's dreams come to life. So that's amazing.
Has there ever been something? Have you ever built a trail and not ridden it?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you really?
A lot of stuff that I have built for movie segments and stuff that for other riders. No way. You don't want to go ride that stuff. It's because you know, when you're building the perfect drop for somebody to do a certain trick on, it's their perfect drop for the way they do the trick.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's your perfect drop. You know what I mean? And at that level where, you know, if you're dropping like 20, 30 feet, like, you know, you don't want to hit it unless it's like perfect for you, you know, like, because it's funny. So like I built a lot of stuff that I haven't ridden before, and that's just part of the job. Like when you're out there, and also there's not a lot of time. Like you're building, you know, for 12 days, maybe 18 days straight. You're just moving from one build to the next, so they can film it right after you're finished. So you don't have time to like tee it up, you know, and you're exhausted because you've been digging.
Yeah. Wow. It's crazy to think that you do that you build stuff and not ride it. It's just something that people might not really appreciate that you do that.
I mean, there's this stigma like you build something, you should ride it, man. But like when someone's telling you to build something and you have no interest in riding it, like you just let that stuff slide, you know. Like,
that's
like,
true.
It's
Yeah.
Like you like yeah, sweet. Well, did it work out good? Yeah, man, it was awesome. All right. Next build.
There was
Hey man, do you mind if we pause for a sec? I gotta go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna do the same.
Okay, sweet.
We'll just leave this rolling, yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh man, I'm back.
Feeling better.
I'm fired up now. Feel the coffee
Ooh, yeah.
pulsing through my veins. I'm talking about building.
Oh dear. There's part of the book which I really liked, and something that I needed at the time of finding this part of the book, which is the 5 things. You aware? So it's those. So it's like a feeling, something you want to do, something you want to have, something you want to give, and B.
Yes, B. Yeah.
Do you know yours? Could we share them? Could we?
Oh, I guess we could. Yeah.
Might be kind of interesting.
I think I got mine off the top of my head. Feel awesome. I want to feel awesome every day.
Nice. Yeah.
I want to do big air.
Nice.
I want to have money, and then I want to be awesome as well.
Amazing. Nice. That works.
And then it's like, what is your definition of awesome? And that is something I'm still working on, to be completely honest. Because I had that kind of scripted out, and I was saying it to myself every day, in my meditations. And then I was like, okay, well, like, what is your definition of awesome? and I'm still working on it, to be completely honest. I think
Right.
that's a combination of happy, powerful, like energy, full of love, and just living like your truest life,
Yeah.
and being honest to you, and being an inspiration to others, and student learning, all that
Yeah.
stuff. That I need to tie that all into the word awesome.
Yeah.
So
It's like in the center of a bubble thing, and everything's just filtering into this word awesome. Okay.
yes, so then I could get even more focused on what it is that I want to become.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about
nice.
what about
So I sort of screwed these up a little bit. I think I might have got one of them wrong, but I went with it anyway. So it was feel content,
Oh, nice.
do. I said Bali because I really want to visit Bali. So it's maybe a little bit wrong, but I thought I'll stick with it. Have, again, sort of screwed it up. That was a log cabin. Give positive vibes, and be loving. And
Oh, I
the biggest one in there for me is the content word, because content it's a very strange word, because what is contentment? But for me, and this sort of tied into a few things with this book, and it coming along at the right time of my life, because I'm really struggling at the moment with purpose. Again, quite a deep word, but I am really struggling with purpose, because to unpack this a little bit, sorry to bore people to death, but to unpack it a little bit, for the last 10 years I've been sort of self-employed. I've run my own businesses, and the purpose of all the hard work is for financial gain, and it's, you almost see all of the effort that you put in to running a company, to starting new things, to doing all this stuff. You see that gain down the line at some point. It might be like a month, it might be a year, whatever, right? So for me, to try and relate this back, my job used to be being on the road. It used to be, visiting bike shops and talking to people, and getting all of the brands that we represent and stuff into people's faces and getting them in the shops. So you would see a reward for that down the line when that customer places an order. Now, all of a sudden, we're thrown into a lockdown and you're sat at home. So my day-to-day job it's totally changed. Usually my purpose was, right, get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, get in the van, drive like an idiot around the UK, have all these meetings, and then you would see the benefit from that down the line, right? So then, like I said, we're thrown into this lockdown. But what happened here and around the world too is, with the bike industry and the outdoor industry, it kept growing. So now I'm sat at home a lot of the last sort of 6 months or something, not really with much to do, but still being busy. And I use that because, I don't know, busy to me is, having orders to place, and it's, having shit to do. So I'm still busy, but I'm not putting in the physical labor of getting that financial reward. That makes sense? So
Yeah.
So I really have been struggling, okay, well, what is my purpose? Why am I sat here doing this? Why do I deserve the reward after not putting in a lot of effort? And I've really, really, really been thinking about that. And this book and the meditations and stuff helped me take 20, 30 minutes out of my day to really think on that and be like, okay, what is the purpose of all this? Okay, what's the purpose of the podcast? And I think the lockdown has helped figure that out a little bit, but also at the same time, like you were saying, I've not figured it out yet. It's not quite there. I don't really understand what my purpose is now. It's changed so much.
Yeah. I mean, not to cut you off, but I think that's okay. A lot of people think about purpose, and you have this one purpose for your whole life, and you need to find it, and it can't change. You write it in stone, and that's it. But I think that your purpose can change quite often.
Yeah.
More than you think. Just like we change, but it's really hard when your purpose is changing and you're trying to find a new purpose. It's really, that's a difficult time for sure.
And I feel that sort of filters into the contentment side too. So when is it that you say you're content? When does that, that probably never happens. Although we're all searching for this thing. It's like, okay, I'm okay. I'm spiritually okay. I'm content. And it's a thing that I think a lot of people will deal with, especially as you get a little bit older. It's like, for me, I've stopped chasing all of the financial stuff. I don't really care anymore, man. Like, I don't care about having the nice car or the van and the nice big house. It's like, I'm just content, or I'm getting to that place of being content with just whatever. Just being alive is like enough, and having loved ones around me and being able to do the shit that I want to do every day. That's content. And success as well. It sort of all filters in together. I think that's like what success is to me as well. It used to be the car, the van, the nice bikes, the toys, but now it's not anymore. Like, success is being content, which is having purpose. Wow, we're stringing all this together, huh?
No, it's awesome. It's awesome to think.
Yeah.
It's awesome to think about this stuff, and I encourage everyone at home to think about this stuff. It's really, really, really important. It's gonna, especially young men, dude, you need a purpose. We all need a purpose. We need something to strive for. That's what's going to help us get up. That's what's going to help us work out. If we're working out as part of your purpose, it's pretty easy to work out when you're like, when you know why, it's really freaking hard when you don't know why, or whatever it is, that's really the fuel that's going to drive, everything. It's finding that purpose, man. But it can change. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
and I think,
cool.
like you said, it's probably okay with it being, it's okay with, you've got to be okay with that purpose changing.
Yeah. For me personally, I made my purpose like as broad as possible. Broad. So then whatever these, I call them missions, missions pop up. So like one mission, for instance, would be, helping Brett win Crankworks. It's like, okay, well, does that line up with the mission? The purpose. Does the purpose line up with the mission? My purpose is to, love unconditionally, evolve, teach, lead, and forget the last one. There's 5 of them.
But do you have this written down? Is it something that you... Yeah, you do, yeah. Okay.
So as long as I'm personally evolving and being a good leader, being a good teacher, and a student, and then whatever it is that's coming up, whatever mission it is, if it checks those boxes, it's like absolutely, and then you're on a mission, Cool. But I think making your purpose as broad as possible is really, really helps you kind of skip over those times where you feel like you don't have a purpose.
Right. That's good, man. Yeah. Beautiful.
Because that's really a trap. Like, I think with a lot of, especially in my younger years, my purpose would be bar spin and open loop. That was my life purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I would do it and I'd be like, what now?
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I can see why that would be a struggle.
like I'm still alive. Nothing changed. I'm still the same person. But like, what the fuck, man? I don't have a purpose. Like, why am I gonna wake up tomorrow? Like, what am I gonna go after?
Yeah.
And I think the broader you make your purpose in life, the better the better it is for you, because you kind of skip over those, and it's more like bar spinning and open loop is a mission that lines up with your purpose.
Okay. Right. It's all part of the bigger picture.
Yeah. And that's not part of the book, really. Maybe it kind of ties in maybe a little bit with your 5, what does he call them again? 5.
I can't remember. I did jot it down, but I can't remember.
Yeah. But anyways, that stuff totally ties into that, because he, in the book, he gets you to think about that stuff, and it's It's really, really important to your overall happiness.
Yeah, so, yeah, totally. And like I say, for me, it came at that time when I was searching for that, and still am searching for that. I think it's a never-ending search for purpose, to be honest. One thing I did as well, which is slightly off topic, Matt, I'm sorry, but I think I told you on a message, I did something called a soul wander, which I think everyone should try this.
Yeah,
what
is it?
So this came again from a podcast episode. It's one of the Kyle Kingsbury episodes, and he had a guy on talking about doing a soul wander. And I, probably like you and a lot of people listening, I love being out in the woods. I like getting lost. I like being on my own. So the premise of a soul wander is basically to leave your house or whatever at sunrise, and then you stay out all day until sunset, but you don't have a phone, you don't have food, you just literally wander around some woods. And it was hard, but quite nice, actually. It was really nice. It was it just gives you some space, time to think, time to just ponder on some shit and just be in nature. It's kind of woo-woo, but it's really nice. I really enjoyed it.
So what were some of the things you enjoyed about it?
Okay, so I think I'm a lonely child, so I like space. I like to just be on my own quite often. So I do, it's one thing I love about riding a lot of the time is just being out on my own, doing my own thing. So yeah, let me try and think. I mean, wow, some of the stuff that came from it and what I enjoyed about it was just having you couldn't contact me, which was really nice for the whole day. This is something that we've been playing with, isn't it? Turning notifications off and, trying to be sort of semi-uncontactable. But knowing that not even having a phone on you makes a massive difference as well. Because once it's there, it changes everything. Like there's this study that I read ages ago that like if you're in a restaurant with a friend or and you're having a conversation, if you put a phone on the table, it totally changes the conversation. It totally changes how you act. You're aware of that phone and the potential that other people can contact you and stuff. So I enjoyed just being uncontactable for 9 hours or whatever it turned out to be. I think it was like 7.5 hours before it went dark again.
Nice.
No watch, like no clock on me either, so you don't know what time it is, and that was really nice because you just get lost in thoughts. You're not like, oh shit, I've been thinking that for 10 minutes. Move on. It was like I just sat for like basically my day went like sitting on a bench which looked over like the valley I live in for an hour, and then I ended up going into the woods and sitting down when I saw a squirrel, so I sat there for an hour, and I just like broke it up into stuff like that by the looks of things from what I can see from what I went through. But yeah, not really having, and then also not having food was kind of nice because you start looking at the world totally differently. You're like, okay, I'm a little bit hungry. There's an apple tree there, and I found some berries, and just went totally off grid for a whole day, dude. It was really nice though, honestly. Like, if anyone's struggling with anything like that, with like finding purpose and you just need some space, heavily recommend just disappearing for a whole day.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Different.
So you disappear for a whole day. You're walking around, checking things out.
Try and be barefoot a little bit.
Yeah, thinking about purpose and stuff. That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting.
It's cool.
So then I'm interested. So you went home. You're probably cold and hungry. Did you eat when you got home?
I ate a pretty big meal. And then also what I remember he said and what I did was you're meant to journal. You're not meant to journal when you're out, but when you get back, you're meant to sit down and just write down some of the shit that came up.
Cool.
So I just sat and wrote a journal. It's the first time I've ever done that. But yeah, I just wrote some notes of like, okay, this is what I've noticed, like about me, about my relationships, about business, like all this sort of stuff that I had, 7.5 hours to just think about.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty powerful, man. I bet you one of those days a month would probably be pretty good for you, especially if you're doing a lot. You live a high stress, fast paced life.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of what I said to myself too, is like when I came back, I thought, wow, it was really nice, like really powerful. I felt energized. I felt pretty tired, obviously, because you've been out all day and not really eaten much, but definitely thought, okay, I need this once a month. I need that. I need to just be away and just be on my own and think about stuff.
That's awesome, man.
I'm a pretty deep thinking guy at times, so I do need it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the mind can be your best friend or your worst friend.
Yeah, totally.
For sure. I think that one cool thing about this book is how they kind of describe the mind and how it's separate from you. And you kind of watch it play its movie, as it says. The mind movie, and you just become an observer of it. I think that is a pretty cool part of the book that maybe would be interesting to take that soul wander to kind of observe your mind, taking the soul wander, especially when you know that the mind is, separate or just a part of you, not
totally
entirely you.
Do you think that that's something you learn as well through the meditation practices, is you learn to just observe rather than be in?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I'm still working on it myself. My personal relationship with my mind is, I don't know really how to describe it, but I know that there's this like outside world, and then there's an internal world. Apparently they're supposed to reflect each other. So the better I get things going in here, the better things are out there. And that's, all a cocktail of breath work, exercise, the right amount of coffee, the right amount of psytrance music, amount of riding bikes, the right amount of hanging out with friends, eating the right food, and then and then inside everything's good, and then it comes out. I might add a soul wander to it. We'll see.
I think you should. I think especially where you live, and how beautiful it is out there, just to be in nature and just walk around and be like insane.
Yeah, you might get eaten by something, actually.
There is that. Maybe, there is that little issue. Well, just take it as it comes, dude. That's part of the journey, isn't it? Just, step outside your comfort zone and just go walk in the hills and see what happens.
Yeah. So,
if anything, just a disclaimer, if anything happens to you now, it's not my fault, okay? Like, I just want to say that.
I take responsibility for my actions. So you won't get any blame for it. It'll be on me for sure. I'm interested to know, I shared some of the stuff that has stuck with me with that book, the notifications, the concentration exercises, I'm wondering, and identifying the loops. I mean, among other things, that I'm wondering what stuck with you from the book. What are some of the things that you're still doing from this book that maybe you're going to keep doing, or
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for a lot of the same stuff as you, man. I think we've had a lot of the same takeaways. The notifications and sort of trying to distance myself from the phone and trying to just get away a little bit more. That's definitely one of the top 3 takeaways from this book. I think the second one would be for sure the importance of meditation. And I liked how, like I said before, it gave you a framework of meditation. I think I'd not actually really thought about doing the whole course again, but that makes total sense to keep doing it because it's there. Like, I have it on my phone. And again, I am someone who needs a bit of structure to be able to meditate. Although I love to think I'm good at it, I'm really not. In the past, I've had to use, what they call like Calm. I've used that a little bit. There's a really good meditation from Aubrey Marcus and a guy called Corey Allen, which is just like, it's so beautiful. It's like the best meditation. It's 30 minutes long, and every time I do that, it has a very profound effect on me. I'm waffling on a little bit here, I'm sorry, but there's another one that I use a framework for, which is East Forest, the guy that makes sort of like binaural beats music and sort of like atmospheric music. He put out an album of meditations, and there's just 3 on there. Morning and afternoon and an evening meditation. And the morning one, dude, holy shit, it's a game changer. It's just like the best way of waking up in the morning. It's beautiful. And then the evening one,
to include those in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put them in the show notes. I'll put all 2 meditation things in the show notes.
Check those out.
The East Forest one though, dude, if you can do those 3 every day, that is a game changer. So yeah, one of the biggest takeaways was having the framework of being able to meditate and also track stuff. I think that's important. I really liked that about this book, that it makes you track what's going on, because I think what's hard sometimes is, you take in all this knowledge, but sometimes it then just gets forgotten about. And I think if you're actually taking the time to write shit down, like, okay, this came up and I'm going to write it down and I'm going to track what my brain's doing, rather than just listening to it and just forgetting about it and just cracking on, the day after, or the, whatever.
Yeah. What's
so that was a big one.
What's that book? Atomic Habits. I think it's.
I haven't read it.
It's a book about habit.
Okay.
And it's basically says that like it takes about 13 months, 13 or 14 months to drill it into your system. But if you can do it in 13, 14 months, then you'll do it for the rest of your life.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of people say that about, when they change the diet and stuff, that it takes multiple months. You can't just go like vegan in like 1 month, because you're always going to have those cravings every time you see or smell a nice steak or something. So
yeah, it's just like fighting that programming, basically. Like, you read this book, you're like, hell yeah, I'm in,
Yeah.
And then it's basically taking the principles from that book and if you applying them for as long as possible before you overwrite it with your past programming, I guess,
Yeah.
And then hopefully you can just stick to it and drill it into your system for, long enough for it to stay.
Yeah, totally. But no, they were the biggest things for me. I think as well, just the fact that it made you. I think it's important to stick to like a structure with this stuff, and I think the fact that this book makes you sit down every day, I think that's really powerful. You've got to commit to it. It's not something you can just keep going, I can't be asked, I don't want to do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. I mean, you could do that, but if you want to be true to yourself and be true to the process, you've got to commit. So
I totally agree. But you just got me thinking right now. Sorry for interrupting, but
no.
Like, would you recommend the book to a friend? And what
definitely.
What kind of rating would you give the book?
Ooh, that's good. I like it. Let's have a rating system. Shit, yeah.
I mean, like,
what should we rate it out of? Should we rate it out of 10?
I mean, I was thinking 5, but I'm okay with 10.
5.
I'm okay.
No, we'll
with
go
10.
from 5. I'd give it a solid 3.8 out of 5.
Nice.
But no, I'll go for a 4. No, we'll go 4. It's 4 out of 5. Let's not confuse things.
I was gonna say
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 too, and only because like the beginning was fucking lost me, but the principles I learned really improved my life, so that's why I'm giving it 4.
Totally, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, it's a little bit unrelatable in places, isn't it? If you're not into tech, it's kind of unrelatable, but they are always great analogies for how your brain works, how he relates it back to technology and computer systems and stuff. It makes total sense once you've listened to it.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it. You nailed it for sure. And those are pretty popular stories that he talks about too. Like if you listen to a lot of entrepreneurs, books coming out of like Silicon Valley, those stories are quite common. So you're like, fuck, I'm hearing this one again about Steve Jobs. It makes it kind of hard to listen to, but yeah, or if you're not even interested in it all, it's tough to listen to for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
4 out of 5 is a great rating.
Cool. One thing I was going to mention too, just real quick, is I did the Audible book, obviously, but I'm going to just double check this, but I'm pretty sure what was cool is he made this book open source, so it's free anywhere.
Yeah. And you can go to the website and you can fully, like, apparently there's an app. Did you try to download the app?
Yeah, it was shit. I didn't get on with the app at all.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, download
and
the
I
app
noticed today that the website's down.
Really?
Yeah.
Those
mine. I know, right? Come on, man. Come on, John. We're doing all the promo for you, man. At least have the website up.
Come on, dude. This mind hacking community, I guess, is not panning out like you said.
I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, I again, throughout the last month or so, I went down a few rabbit holes on Twitter and stuff like that of looking at the community, and it is out there, man. It's definitely it's a flourishing thing, but I was a little, no, I don't know. Was I bummed? I don't know. Like, obviously, I bought the book, and then within the first few sentences, I think he says how you can get the book for free, and I was like, well, I just spent £9 on the book, so why is it free? Surely it should be free on Audible then.
It's because he had to record it all and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, now that I know that you like to read more, I think the next book I will make sure that, you know, if the written copy is free, you could just download the written copy and save yourself £9.
Mate, doesn't matter. The money's no there's no object, but the money, it doesn't matter. It's just interesting that it's for free, but you can buy it. It seems a little weird. But yeah, if you go to the website, you can download the PDF of the whole book. You can download all of the audio, the meditation thing. It's all there for free. So I'll try and put a link in the show description as well on mine, and I'll share it with you so you can do it. You can do it yourself.
Hell yeah, man! No, looking forward to all that. So one thing I am looking forward to is the next book.
Cool. Have you got an idea or?
Oh, I think it's your turn.
I thought it was, so I'm glad I came prepared.
Yeah,
it's a good idea though. If we keep going back and forth, perfect.
Yeah.
Have you read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
Yes, I have. War of Art. I really enjoyed it, and I think it could be a good one. That could be a great book.
Super short. It's not a long book, but what I was going to suggest is, just so we have a little bit like of a sort of, again, a bit of a structure and a practice to this, is here's what I like to do with it. I like to read it once, live a week or two of your life, and then read it again. Okay. And then really like think about what it's made you do and stuff, because for people listening, if you want to get involved, I guess this book's all about resistance and overcoming resistance, and it's something that I deal with daily. Like, I don't want to do that right now, I'm going to put it off. That's basically what it's about, isn't it? It's kind of similar. It's about reprogramming those loops.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's a good one that will like kind of get the momentum going off of this, you know?
Yeah.
You got the breath.
You happy with that one?
You know, which teach you how to breathe, get your chemistry right in your body, and then all of a sudden we're doing the mind hacking, get your brain right.
Yeah.
And, you know, get those mental loops working for you, and the next thing you know, we're gonna the War of Art, which is all about the artists, the entrepreneur, you know, the self-employed, you know, just overcoming the resistance. Yeah, this could be cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, you're into that? Cool, man. I was hoping so. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and I haven't read it for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So
nice.
And I need to get another copy though, because I lent it to someone and I never got it back. So I'm gonna grab another copy of it today or tomorrow, and then we'll get into that one. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think I read that one in December, and it's a good one, so it deserves some more attention. So.
Okay. Perfect.
Get back.
Again, we'll throw a link in the show description to grab it from wherever. Oh man, I hate Amazon. I hate telling people to go to Amazon, but
what's your big deal with Amazon?
They're just taking over the world, man.
You're just like, what do you mean?
I mean, what's the like about it? Like,
it's pretty sick. You just press a button, it shows up. You're like, oh well, yeah.
Yeah, but then I agree. But then what about your local bookshop, where it's really nice to go down and have a coffee and find a book? And I don't know. Especially in lockdown, it's too easy to get the shit that you need delivered to your house. And that's one thing, almost coming full circle. What we're going through here in the UK is they've shut down all of the independent stores, a lot of the independent businesses that aren't essential. So all these little bookshops, dude, that were making money out of selling a couple of copies of War of Art every year, they're not going to be around, and I want to support them. So I just don't like going to Amazon and it just fueling Jeff Bezos' fucking multi-billion-pound lifestyle. I just hate that shit.
He's pretty smart, man. He's pretty smart, but you know, he started that shit a really, really long time ago. And
have you seen that photo of the first office when it's just a desk and a chair and a computer, and he's just got a banner and it just says Amazon on it?
Yeah, it's pretty. No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard stories how he started and stuff. So yeah, it's crazy.
Amazing. Is there anything else you think we've covered, or?
Dude, I think we nailed it pretty good. I think it's a great book, and I think that the takeaways are amazing, and I'm sure people will find, many more takeaways than what we just discussed. But it's cool that we could meet here today and kind of like, especially, during COVID, where it's time to get your mental game strong, and this is a really good roadmap for people. So, hopefully this book will get to people at the right time, and hopefully they'll get their website up.
Yeah.
and you can take your benefits from it. Like, it's some really good stuff, and there's some really good leads in that book, which will lead you to other books, if you want to go even deeper. So, yeah.
Totally. Cool, man. Perfect. No, I'm stoked. Happy with that. Perfect. Really good to chat as usual. Love sitting down here and chatting with you anytime. It's insane.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm looking forward to, getting back into the war of art and discussing it. I think it's going to be awesome. I just
be interesting to hear if there's a project or something you're putting off that this book might
push through. Yeah. It could. It could. I mean, I'm sure, there's so many things I'm putting off, so. Okay, sweet.
Yeah,
sweet,
perfect, man.
Thanks for your
All
time.
right.
I appreciate it.
No, thank you, man, and thank you everyone for listening as well. Appreciate the shit out of you. Keep keeping on.
Keep keeping on. Good luck, guys, during COVID, and look forward to talking with you soon after reading the new book, War of Art. Sorry.
Boom. Perfect. All right.
Riders ready? Watch the good.